I can't say enough how much I appreciate Randy coming on the program to talk about the passing of the late, great Robert Follis. And I do believe Randy is joining us at this time via the magic of Skype. And there he is, right over there, the one and only Randy Couture, the natural himself. Randy, how are you?
I'm good, Ariel. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Again, I just want to say to you, I really appreciate it. I know this is a very hard time for you, the team, the entire MMA community in Las Vegas, the entire MMA community in North America. I can't thank you enough. And so I just want to ask, first and foremost, how are you handling all of this? This is a massive shock to everyone. How are you coping with it all?
Well, I mean, it's been a rough couple of days. I don't know. The holiday season is tough on a lot of people.
Okay, we may have lost his connection there right off. Oh, wait.
And social media and political discourse.
Okay, you're back.
You there?
Yeah, you're back. Sorry, we froze up a little bit there. Oh, now we lost you. Okay, if that continues, maybe we may have to, let's give it a shot one more time, but I don't want this. Okay, Randy, you're back. You look good.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yep.
Are you good, Ariel? Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can see you. It just keeps saying there's a poor network quality. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, we'll try this one more time. If not, we'll call you on your cell.
Okay, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a rough couple of days. I know Robert's brother was here yesterday. I haven't got to speak with him in person. I've been in contact with Robert's girlfriend, Myra Fukuno, who obviously is kind of left picking up the pieces and putting all this stuff back together. And it's been a bit of a shock, I think, for everybody. Rough day at the gym this morning, seeing all the fellas, everybody trying to come in and maintain and carry on. So it's been difficult.
Is there anything, Randy, that you could tell us about his passing? The details seem to be rather vague at this time. Is there anything that you feel comfortable sharing? Okay. I don't think he can hear me now. So let's call him on his cell. I don't want this to keep happening. I see him perfectly, but I just want to call Randy on his cell here because this isn't the kind of interview that you want, to lose continuity. So we'll check in with Randy here in a second. Apologize for that. The connection was fantastic. But no, we'll check in with Randy here. We should be able to connect with him in a matter of seconds. And again, really appreciate him being a part of the show on short notice here to talk about a subject that I'm sure he would rather not talk about. He's known him for, as I said, around 2 decades, dating back to the heyday of Team Quest. Randy, are you there?
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, let's go this way because I just don't want it to keep stalling. So I appreciate your patience. I was just asking, I don't know if you heard my last question, if you felt comfortable in sharing any of the details surrounding his passing, because the details have been vague up until this point. Did we? Okay. We just lost him there again. So I apologize for that. Check back in with Randy here in a matter of moments. It's a tough thing. He was on the program, Robert Follis was, after UFC 196, and time permitting, in a bit, we may play the clip of him on the show. That was such a big moment. I'll never forget seeing him backstage after Miesha Tate's victory against Holly Holm, and how happy he was, the massive smile on his face. Randy, did we connect with you again? Are you there?
I'm here. I think we've reconnected. Yeah. it is probably my fault. I'm too close to the electronics. I seem to make stuff like that go haywire.
Not a problem.
But
so I don't know if you heard my question. I'll ask it again, no problem. I just wanted to know if there were any details that you could share or felt comfortable in sharing about his passing, because as I said, the details up until this point have been rather vague.
Well, there's not a lot of details available. Obviously, Robert has been struggling the last couple of years with depression. His brother passed a couple of years ago. Was very close to Robert, and Robert's been struggling with that. And I think obviously it's safe to say at this point it just kind of got the better of him. And I think that's the thing. Nowadays we get so caught up in our phones and social media, and walking around the holidays are a tough time for a lot of people. Obviously, I do a lot of work in the veteran community, and the number of suicides every single day in the veteran community is pretty stark, and those statistics are horrifying. You just don't know. So, pick your head up out of your phone and connect with somebody. Reach out to somebody if you're struggling. Let some people know. And there's a lot of us that have been close to Robert for years that knew that Robert was struggling with his brother's passing, and done everything we knew how to do to try to help him deal with that. And unfortunately, it's been tough. So we all try to pick up the pieces now and remember Robert for the amazing guy that he was. I met Robert 20 years ago in 1997 after my first fight in the UFC. And he was training at a straight blast gym in Salem, Oregon, and Portland, Oregon, running and managing those gyms. And, I was hungry to learn what this jiu-jitsu thing was and learn more skills. And that's how I met Robert. And that led me to Nate Corey and just a whole slew of amazing men, amazing fighters that were all touched by Robert and helped and coached and brought along by the amazing guy that Robert was. And so I've talked to a lot of those original Team Quest guys from back then, and we had a pretty amazing room, and Robert was the center of that knowledge, the center of that spirit. And we've been fortunate the last 4 or 5 years to have Robert in the gym here in Las Vegas at Xtreme Couture. And you mentioned Misha and so many other fighters that he touched, that he motivated, that he inspired, that he mentored. All of us are certainly a little confused and it's just hard to wrap your brain around. A guy that's as intelligent and warm and giving as Robert was, sometimes you never really know what's going on the inside with somebody. So it's rough. It's going to be rough for a little while, but I think we'll do our best to keep moving forward and honor and respect Robert for all the things that he accomplished that were so positive.
I was talking to a couple of people about him yesterday, and one of the stories that I was told was, even deep into his run as a coach, someone would come through Oregon to do a seminar, and Eddie Bravo, someone like that. Robert's the first guy there with a notepad taking notes. Like, he was just obsessed with all things mixed martial arts and being a great coach. From your perspective, from your experience, what made Robert such a great coach?
I think Robert had a hunger for figuring things out. Not only the physical aspects of the sport, but he was one of the few guys that was also in tune with the mental aspects of the sport. And I think that a lot of athletes, in my experience, overlook that part. And Robert was very in tune and kind of getting you in that headspace to go out and deal with the adversity that is competition. He was just always hungry, willing to put himself out there, had no ego with regard to his ability and his knowledge, and want just continually on the quest to learn more and to be better and to do better. And I think that's what made him special.
You made the decision to bring him over to Xtreme Couture, and it seemed to me, and correct me if you feel otherwise, that for a minute the gym, the team was going through some transition, and then over the last couple of years enjoyed some of its greatest success. Of course, with Misha winning the belt, Kevin Lee has been doing great. It seemed like fighters were starting to come back and travel to Las Vegas to be a part of the team. Could you talk about that decision to bring him on board, and do you feel like he was, greatly responsible for perhaps the revitalization of Xtreme Couture?
Well, I think there's an ebb and flow in every gym. You have your ups, you have your downs. People come and go. It's part of the process as fighters, certainly, you learn as much as you can in a particular environment, and then you got to kind of find fresh water, find a new pond to swim in, and rub elbows with some new fish. I think me retiring and kind of not grinding out another camp sent a lot of guys looking for another place to train, and we kind of went through one of those lulls. And then Dennis Davis, who was mentored by Robert Follis and one of our guys from Team Quest, started running the amateur team and running the pro practices at Xtreme Couture kind of in that period. Robert moved to Vegas. He left Oregon and moved to Vegas. And Dennis, having been mentored for so long by Robert, was kind of very instrumental in getting Robert to come into Xtreme Couture. He literally took a cut in his own pay, as the coach at that time to create a space and get Robert Follis in there. That attracted, Brian Caraway, Misha Tate, a whole bunch of other fighters, and Robert had this positivity about him. He just had a persona that people were attracted to, they wanted to be around. He had an amazing philosophy as a human and as a coach, and that attracted a lot of people, and definitely kind of turned things around at the gym when we were kind of in the middle of a lull after me retiring. And we were thankful for that. Robert started the GI program, and the GI program under Robert's tutelage flourished, as well as as coaching all of the other athletes that we've already mentioned. So he will be sorely missed, and obviously it was no secret that he was moving on and kind of had some other things in his sights. In November, was kind of headed in a different direction, and was vacating his position at Xtreme Couture, but that wasn't under any duress or any real issue. I think, like I said, there's an ebb and flow to everything. So this whole thing came as a pretty big shock to the team and to everybody. So I don't know if there's anything else to say about it, to be honest.
Do you recall the last time you spoke to him?
I saw him at a Tough Enough fairly recently, and spoke to him that night. Obviously, we had fighters competing, and his focus was on that. And I saw him at the gym just about every single day. He always had a smile, always had time to greet everybody that came past the mat when he was there, whether he was wearing a gi and on the mat or not, it didn't matter.
And you mentioned that, he had left the team, and there was some reports, even Kevin Lee talking about that maybe he was going to open his own gym. He was always so great to see at events, always had a smile on his face, and the fighters spoke so highly of him. And so I'm wondering if at this point, as sort of, the namesake of the team, as the figurehead, are you doing any, what do you feel needs to be done, if anything, for the fighters who are still part of Xtreme Couture, who worked under him, who were inspired by him, to try to get them, to try to get them to cope with this? What do you have in store? Is there anything in place to try to help them with this tragedy?
Well, right now we launched some fundraising, obviously, to kind of close things out and take care of some of the issues that are staring Myra in the face in the wake of this. I'm not sure. Obviously, this all just kind of broke loose yesterday, and so there hasn't been any memorial or anything like that announced. I know a lot of the guys from Team Quest and from Xtreme Couture both have posted tributes and put things out there commemorating Robert and how much Robert affected all of us. Something more formal, I'm sure, will be forthcoming, but right now I think it's too early to say. There's been no announcements. I think, like everything else, time will heal. I think we need to communicate, wrap our arms around each other, and talk about what's going on and the feelings that this has generated for a lot of us, and through that, I think we get together and get through it together.
I'm putting you on the spot here. I recognize that if one doesn't come to mind, certainly understand. But do you have a favorite Robert Follis story, a great moment that you shared together, something that comes to mind of a happy, exciting moment that he was a part of as far as your career was concerned?
Well, Robert was in my corner and part of my journey for the first 6 or 7 years of my 14-year career. We spent a lot of time together, ferreting out technique and tactics, and spent a lot of time building Team Quest and creating a facility that fostered a lot of champions up in Oregon and Gresham. I think one of the funniest things that happened there was we were in this kind of damp, dank, wet, old van conversion center that was shaped like a Quonset hut, and it was, we didn't care. We were happy to be there, but when Robert came in and started managing the business, we realized we needed a facelift, and so we had the brilliant idea to put a bunch of sheetrock up, put some insulation in and a bunch of sheetrock, which turned out to be a horrible idea. By the end of the second week, there wasn't a single clean piece of sheetrock left in that gym. I think there was one left over in the corner, and we placed bets every day to see who was going to get their opponent's butt or head pushed through that last piece of clean sheetrock. But we just had a ton of fun learning, beating the hell out of each other, but getting better, and Robert was a big part of that.
My heart goes out to you, Randy, and the rest of the team and everyone who knew him, of course, his family and friends. Just horrible news. He will sorely be missed, and I can't thank you enough for coming on and talking about this, and hopefully everyone back in Las Vegas is doing as well as they could dealing with this news. Please hang in there. Thank you for the time, Randy. Thank you for sharing some thoughts. And again, my condolences to you and the team.
Thanks, Ariel. Have a great day.
Same to you. There he is, Randy Couture, talking about the late Robert Follis.